Archangel Michael is not calm today. Heaven saw the mistake you made, and if you ignore this message now, the consequences will not be light. My child, stop for a moment. Breathe. Because something hidden is unfolding around you right now, and the universe did not bring you here by accident. There is a quiet stirring in the unseen realms, a pause in time where destiny leans closer to your ear. If you felt a pull, a heaviness, or an unexplainable nudge to listen, this is it. This is the moment when what was concealed begins to reveal itself, gently but unmistakably, just for you. You have been walking with questions in your heart, perhaps even doubting whether the signs you've noticed were real. The universe saw that doubt. Heaven noticed the silence you carried. And now, a revelation rises, not to frighten you, but to awaken you. This message is arriving precisely on your timeline, because your soul is ready to hear what was hidden behind delay, confusion, and misunderstanding. There is a divine awareness surrounding you now. A guardian presence stands closer than before, not in anger, but in urgent clarity. The energy feels different because it is different. Time has shifted. The veil is thinner. And the truth you've been avoiding or overlooking is asking to be acknowledged with humility and trust. Hear this with an open heart, because these words are not random. And they are not for everyone. They are for you. Archangel Michael is not calm today. Heaven saw the mistake you made, and if you ignore this message now, the consequences will not be light. This is not a warning meant to harm, but a call meant to protect. The divine does not speak without reason. There was a moment, a choice, a thought you dismissed as small, but nothing is small in the eyes of the universe. Still, mercy walks beside truth. Correction arrives with compassion. You are not being condemned, you are being redirected. Something hidden within you is awakening, a strength, a purpose, a clarity you once postponed. Heaven is offering alignment, not punishment. This message comes now because the next step of your destiny requires awareness. The universe is gently asking you to pause, reflect, and return to the path meant for your highest good. You are seen. You are known. And despite everything, you are still deeply guided. The light has not left you. In fact, it's growing brighter because you chose to listen. Where confusion once lived, understanding can now grow. Where fear lingered, peace is ready to enter. Stay with this message until the end, because what follows carries guidance meant to settle your heart and restore your direction. If this resonated with your spirit, like this video, share it with someone who may need this divine reminder. And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what the universe reveals next. Watch this complete video, because clarity, hope, and purpose are already reaching for you. Archangel Michael is not calm today. Heaven saw the mistake you made, and if you ignore this message now, the consequences will not be light. Listen carefully, beloved soul, for I am speaking to you not from thunder nor from fire, but from the stillness that follows truth when it finally reaches the heart. I am the voice you have felt pressing gently against your conscience, the whisper that returned again and again when you tried to distract yourself. I am not here to frighten you, nor to bind you with fear, but to awaken you. Heaven is attentive today, and Archangel Michael stands alert not in anger, but in vigilance, because something important has shifted, and you are standing at the center of it. You have walked a path thinking you had more time. You told yourself that tomorrow would be enough, that later would be safer, that silence was easier than honesty. I saw this choice the moment it formed within you. Not as a judge counting faults, but as a creator who knows the weight of every decision. Nothing you do is invisible to me, and nothing you regret is hidden. Heaven saw the mistake not because it seeks to expose you, but because it seeks to correct what can still be healed. Do not misunderstand my words. This is not a declaration of punishment. This is a revelation. There is a difference. Punishment looks backward and condemns. Revelation looks forward and invites change. Yet revelation carries weight, because truth does not come empty-handed. When truth arrives and is ignored, life itself begins to respond differently. That is what you are feeling now, the subtle resistance, the quiet unrest, the sense that something is misaligned. Archangel Michael is not calm because you are standing between who you have been and who you are meant to become. He is the guardian of resolve, the protector of alignment, the defender of divine order. When he stirs, it is because a soul is hesitating at a crossroads that matters. You are not being watched with suspicion, but with expectation. Heaven believes you are capable of more integrity than you have shown yourself. You know the moment I am speaking of. The choice you minimized. The word you withheld. The truth you softened so much it lost its meaning. You told yourself it was kindness, or survival, or necessity. I understand why you did it. I understand your fear. But understanding does not erase consequence, it transforms it into responsibility. And responsibility is the doorway to freedom, not its enemy. I have given you signs, small at first, because I honor your free will. A pause that felt uncomfortable. A conversation that echoed longer than it should have. A quiet inner nudge you brushed aside. You are not being chased. You are being called. There is a difference. Yet calls unanswered eventually grow louder, not to punish, but to be heard above the noise you surround yourself with. Do not think heaven is dramatic or impulsive. Nothing here is rushed. This message comes now because you are ready to hear it, even if you resist it at first. Read slowly. Breathe. Let the words settle, not in your fear, but in your awareness. I am not asking you to be perfect. I am asking you to be honest, with yourself first. The consequences I speak of are not destruction or loss. They are distance. Distance from clarity. Distance from peace. Distance from the alignment that makes life feel guided rather than forced. When you ignore truth, you do not anger me, you disorient yourself. You walk further from the current that was carrying you, and you begin to wonder why everything feels heavier. I did not create you to live in quiet contradiction. You were formed to walk in coherence, where your inner knowing and your outer actions speak the same language. Every time you betray that alignment, even gently, you fracture your own sense of trust. Heaven notices because heaven wants you whole. Archangel Michael's presence today is not to strike, but to stand. To remind you that strength is available the moment you choose it. He does not demand obedience, he offers courage. Courage to face what you avoided. Courage to name what you blurred. Courage to repair what you assumed would fade on its own. Do not wait for circumstances to force clarity. Forced clarity is harsh because it arrives when patience has been exhausted. Chosen clarity is gentle because it arrives through willingness. I am offering you the gentle way now. That is why this message exists. That is why you found it. That is why something in you felt a pause before scrolling away. You are not late. But you are no longer early. This is the moment of response. Not performance. Not apology spoken only to sound right. Response means alignment in action. A shift that can be felt, not just promised. Heaven does not require spectacle. It requires sincerity. I see the good you have done that you never speak of. I see the restraint you showed when it would have been easier to harden. I see the compassion you gave quietly. Do not use your goodness as a shield against growth. Light that refuses to grow becomes dim not because it is weak, but because it is stagnant. This message is not here to end you. It is here to begin something you have delayed. And yes, if you ignore it, life will continue, but with more friction, more repetition, more lessons that circle back until learned. Not as punishment, but as persistence. Truth is patient. But it is not passive. Archangel Michael remains attentive because once awareness is given, neutrality dissolves. You cannot unknow what you now sense. That is why this moment matters. Not because heaven will withdraw, but because heaven has leaned in. I am speaking to you directly because I value your capacity to choose wisely when fully aware. Do not shrink from this. Do not dramatize it either. Simply stand in it. Let humility replace defensiveness. Let clarity replace delay. Let courage replace avoidance. There is still grace in this moment. There is still softness available. But grace works best when met halfway. Reach. Even slightly. Even imperfectly. That is enough to shift the direction. Do not rush to share this message. Sit with it. Let it work within you. Let it uncover what you already know but have not yet honored. I am not finished speaking, and this message is not complete yet, because what comes next depends on whether you are willing to stay present, to continue listening beyond discomfort, to allow the unfolding rather than demanding resolution too soon. So remain here. Do not close your heart. Do not look away. What I am about to reveal next is not for everyone. It is for you, and it requires that you are still willing to hear, because the next part of this message will go deeper into what must now be addressed, and I will continue when you are ready to allow me to speak further. Remain with me. Do not rush your breath, and do not search for an ending, because this message is not meant to close a chapter yet. I am still speaking, and the unfolding is intentional. What you are sensing now is not pressure, it is recognition. You are beginning to remember who you were before fear taught you to compromise your own knowing. This remembering is sacred, and heaven draws close when remembrance begins. I am aware of the inner argument you are having even now. One voice says, "This is too much, too intense, too demanding." Another voice, quieter but steadier, says, "This feels true." That quieter voice is not imagination. It is discernment. It is the part of you that has not been shaped by approval or avoidance. It is the place where my voice has always been able to reach you. Archangel Michael stands beside that place within you. Not above you. Not over you. Beside you. He does not carry judgment, he carries clarity. His presence is firm because clarity is firm. It does not bend to convenience, yet it does not wound. When clarity arrives, illusions loosen their grip. That is why you may feel unsettled. What is false cannot remain comfortable when truth is near. You have learned how to function while divided. You learned how to say one thing while feeling another, how to move forward while something inside resisted quietly. This survival skill once protected you. Honor that. But survival is not the same as fulfillment. And you were not created only to endure. You were created to align, to express, to participate consciously in the unfolding of your life. There is a pattern you have been repeating, not because you are unaware, but because you hoped the outcome would change without the choice changing. Patterns persist until acknowledged without excuse. This is not accusation, it is observation. Heaven observes gently but honestly. And when observation is paired with willingness, transformation becomes natural rather than forced. I am not asking you to confront everything at once. I am asking you to stop pretending you do not see. There is power in naming what is present. Silence can be sacred. But avoidance is not silence, it is noise disguised as calm. When you choose to see clearly, the noise begins to fade. You may wonder why this message carries such weight, why it feels different from other comforting words you have heard before. It is because comfort without truth becomes sedation. I do not sedate souls. I awaken them. Awakening is tender, but it is also honest. It respects your strength enough to invite you into responsibility. Responsibility is not blame. Responsibility is ownership of direction. You cannot control everything that happens to you, but you are deeply involved in how you respond. Heaven responds to response. When you shift even slightly toward alignment, unseen support reorganizes around you. When you delay knowingly, that support waits, not withdrawn, but paused. Archangel Michael's vigilance today is a sign of readiness. Readiness does not mean you are flawless, it means you are capable of choosing with awareness. The moment you realize you have a choice, neutrality ends. To remain still after awareness is itself a decision, and decisions shape momentum. I see the fatigue you carry. Not just physical tiredness, but the weariness of holding contradictions. Living out of alignment consumes energy because it requires constant adjustment. Truth, once embraced, simplifies. Not always immediately, but inevitably. That simplicity is peace. Not because life becomes easy, but because it becomes coherent. There is something you have been postponing because you fear the ripple it may cause. You imagine disruption, misunderstanding, or loss of control. Yet what you do not see clearly is that postponement is already causing a ripple within you. It is eroding trust between your inner knowing and your outer action. That erosion is subtle, but over time it dulls joy. I do not demand dramatic gestures. I do not require you to explain yourself to everyone. I ask for congruence. For the courage to let your actions reflect what you already know to be true. Congruence is quiet, but it is powerful. It recalibrates your entire inner world. You are not alone in this moment. Even if you feel isolated, even if you believe no one would understand, heaven understands. Understanding does not mean agreement with avoidance, it means patience with process. But patience is not permission to remain stagnant. It is support while you move. Notice how your body responds as you read. Where there is tension, there is information. Where there is resistance, there is fear asking to be met gently, not obeyed. Where there is relief, there is truth resonating. Your body is wiser than you were taught to believe. It remembers alignment instinctively. Archangel Michael does not shout. He does not threaten. His presence feels like resolve. Like the moment you straighten your spine after realizing you have been slouching for too long. That straightening may feel unfamiliar at first, but it is natural. You were designed to stand upright in your truth. I am not here to take something from you. I am here to return something to you, your authority over your own becoming. When you outsource your truth to comfort, to habit, to expectation, you feel smaller. When you reclaim it, you feel grounded. Not superior. Grounded, there is a humility in alignment that ego cannot imitate. Ego seeks validation. Alignment seeks coherence. You do not need to prove anything to heaven. You only need to participate honestly in what you already sense is unfolding. Do not measure this moment by external outcomes. Measure it by internal integrity. If you choose alignment and the world reacts unpredictably, you will still feel steady. If you choose avoidance and the world appears calm, you will still feel restless. Peace is not negotiated with circumstance, it is generated by truth. I am aware that part of you is waiting for explicit instruction, a clear list, a precise command. But growth does not always come through instruction, sometimes it comes through recognition. You already know the next right step. What you doubt is your permission to take it. Consider this your permission, not from authority above you, but from truth within you. Echoed by heaven. You are allowed to choose clarity. You are allowed to change direction. You are allowed to honor what has matured within you, even if others have not caught up yet. Archangel Michael's watchfulness today signals that protection is present while you decide. Protection does not remove challenge, it ensures that challenge refines rather than destroys. You are not being set up to fail. You are being invited to rise to your own capacity. If fear arises, do not push it away. Acknowledge it, then ask it what it is protecting. Fear often guards an old story that no longer fits. Thank it for its service, then gently choose forward movement anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move with awareness. This message continues because your unfolding continues. I am not finished because you are not finished. There is more to reveal, more to clarify, more to strengthen within you. But revelation unfolds in layers, and the next layer requires your presence, not your agreement, just your presence. Stay attentive. Stay open. Do not seek to conclude this moment. Let it remain alive within you. I will continue to speak, and what comes next will build upon what has already stirred. When you are ready to remain with me a little longer and allow the message to go further, stay with me just a little longer, beloved soul, for now the message reaches its completion. What has been stirred within you was not meant to remain unresolved. I speak now not to prolong suspense, but to bring integration, so that what you have felt can become lived, grounded, and whole. You have reached a moment of readiness, even if you do not yet feel confident. Readiness is not certainty, it is willingness. And willingness is enough. Heaven does not wait for perfection. Heaven responds to sincerity. The simple truth is this: you are more prepared than you believe, and less broken than you fear. What heaven saw was not merely a mistake. Heaven saw a divergence, a slight turning away from your deeper knowing. Such divergences happen to every soul walking in time. They are not failures, they are signals. Signals that growth is asking to happen, that an old way of being has reached its limit, that expansion is pressing gently but persistently from within. Archangel Michael's vigilance was not to warn you of danger, but to guard the threshold you are crossing. Thresholds are sacred. They mark the point where an inner truth becomes an outer life. At thresholds, clarity sharpens, distractions lose their power, and excuses feel hollow. That discomfort you felt was not condemnation, it was alignment approaching. You are not being asked to undo your past. The past has already taught you what it needed to teach. You are being asked to stop dragging it forward as justification for remaining small. Growth does not erase history, it redeems it by using its wisdom. There is a future version of you that already breathes more freely. That version is not wiser because of suffering, but because of honesty. That version chose truth when it was inconvenient, alignment when it was uncomfortable, integrity when it required courage. That future self is not distant. It is created the moment you choose differently now. You may still wonder, what exactly must I do? Hear this gently, you do not need a dramatic overhaul. You need a single honest step. One action that matches what you know. One conversation spoken with clarity instead of avoidance. One boundary honored instead of negotiated away. One truth acknowledged without self-betrayal. Heaven moves with steps, not leaps. When you take one step toward alignment, the next becomes visible. When you refuse the first step, the path feels hidden. This is not mystery meant to confuse you, it is design meant to encourage trust. Trust does not mean blind faith. Trust means acting with integrity even when outcomes are uncertain. You have waited for certainty as permission. Let clarity be your permission instead. Certainty often arrives after movement, not before. I see the kindness in you that sometimes turns into self-erasure. Kindness that forgets to include yourself becomes imbalance. Balance is holy. It is not selfish to honor your truth. It is necessary. When you live aligned, your kindness becomes sustainable, not sacrificial. Do not confuse peace with passivity. Peace is active alignment. It is the calm that comes from standing where you belong. Passivity avoids disruption, peace withstands it. You are capable of peace because you are capable of truth. You were not created to constantly second-guess your own knowing. That habit was learned. It can be unlearned. Each time you honor what feels true and grounded, you strengthen trust within yourself. That trust becomes a refuge no circumstance can remove. Archangel Michael now stands at ease, not because nothing matters, but because you have been seen, heard, and equipped. Protection surrounds clarity. Strength follows decision. The vigilance was temporary, because thresholds are moments, not permanent states. Understand this clearly. Heaven is not keeping score. Heaven is cultivating growth. When you align, you feel supported not because you earned it, but because alignment allows support to flow unobstructed. There will still be challenges ahead. Growth does not remove complexity, it gives you footing within it. But you will notice something different, less inner conflict, less fragmentation, less quiet regret. In its place will be a steadiness that does not depend on approval. If you stumble again, do not hide. Return. Returning is sacred. There is no limit to how many times you may realign. The only thing that prolongs suffering is pretending you are not misaligned when you know you are. Let this message end not with fear, but with remembrance. You are not distant from me. You never were. Every sincere breath, every moment of awareness, every honest choice brings you into immediate proximity with truth. You are seen without surveillance, known without exposure, and guided without force. That is how heaven works. That is how I work. Carry this message quietly. You do not need to convince anyone of what has shifted. Let your life speak instead. Let your choices reflect the clarity you have received. Let your presence grow calmer, truer, more grounded. Now the message is complete. Not because everything is finished, but because you have what you need to continue without further words. Walk gently. Walk honestly. Walk aligned, and remember this above all else. You were never being threatened, you were being invited. Go now in clarity, in courage, and in peace. Amen.